Most High God, we're going to talk some boxing. And we're going to talk about one of Brazil's probably greatest boxers ever, and that's Eder Jofre, who was a bantamweight champion. He also moved up to featherweight. And this guy did some remarkable things in his career, and so we're going to just have a look at him. But many people don't talk about him today. So anyway, he began his career back in 1957, ended his career somewhere in the 70s, and he basically faced his first stiff competition was against a gentleman named Leo Espinosa. Leo Espinosa was a Filipino boxer, and was very good quality, very good kind of boxer, and he is able to get a win over him. All right. And he had some good pops, so he knocked him down twice in rounds 5 and 6. Now, he really, by the way, Leo Espinosa was not a top tier opponent at the time, but he belonged in the top tier contenders at the bantamweight, in the bantamweight division. Okay. Anyway, the other really good fight that he had was against Ernesto Miranda. Ernesto Miranda was a top tier. He was a top tier bantamweight. Okay, he wasn't a champion or anything, but he was top tier bantamweight, and they did it for the South American bantamweight title. He rematched him and he knocked him out. And Eder Jofre, he had some good pop. He had some good power for his weight class. The next good fighter that he faced was Jose Miguel, and again he was able to defeat him, stopping him. The impressive thing was he stopped the dude, right? Then went on to face Eloy Sanchez for the NBA bantamweight title, and he was able to stop him in the third round. Again, this was fantastic. He went on to defend his title against Piero Rollo, who was another top 10 bantamweight in the world at the time. And then he would go on to face Ramon Arias. Ramon Arias again was another top 10 bantamweight in the world at the time. He would then go on to bring together the NYSAC, or the New York State Athletic Commission, and NBA titles, facing Johnny Cadwell, who was an undefeated fighter at the time, and he stopped him in the 10th round. So this guy was like ruthlessly, he was just dread. Herman Marquez faced him. Herman Marquez is not somebody worth noting, so I'll just pass that. He again faced Jose Miguel, again when Jose Miguel was still top 10, and he still dusted him he dusted the dude, okay? He would then go on to face Bernardo Caraballo, again another top 10 undefeated bantamweight in the division, and he was able to knock him out in the 5th round. So all of these were defenses of his world title. He finally lost to Fighting Harada in 1965. He would rematch Harada and still lose to him in much more convincing fashion the second time around. It was a close fight the first fight. Second time around, he was fighting Harada, and he was defeated. And that was his bantamweight career. He didn't move up to featherweight. And he got a shot at the featherweight title facing Jose Legra, who was the world featherweight champion at the time. And then he would go on to finish off his career with a really beautiful win, defending his title against Vincent Saldivar. Of course, the legendary Vincent Saldivar, who had multiple titles in multiple weight classes. So this was his career basically, and it was a great career for him. Eder Jofre. They say he was the best boxer of Brazil. Of course, we could compare him to a modern day guy that I remember, Acelino Freitas. Acelino Freitas also had pretty incredible career himself. And I just want to show you a couple things. Now, I don't know how many of you guys know about Acelino Freitas, but he was a contemporary of Floyd Mayweather. Never fought Floyd Mayweather in Floyd Mayweather's career. He was more in the 90s, 2000s, and stuff like that. Anyway, Acelino Freitas faced the following people worth noting. He won his title against Anatoly Alexandrov, who was a Russian WBO super featherweight champion who had faced the likes of people like Gennaro Hernandez, Chiquinito, and so forth. So this guy had a lot of experience and stuff, and he was a world champion. And this is who Acelino Freitas won his title off of, which was very good. He also faced against not only some top contenders, but also some fantastic people who were former world champions, like Barry Jones, was undefeated former WBO super featherweight world champion. The thing about it, though, was that Barry Jones had to relinquish his title, and by the time he was vying for it, somebody else had the title. He then went on to face Javier Haragui, who was, again, another former world champion. So these were really top-tier guys. And then he went on to face Joel Casamayor. Joel Casamayor is actually the WBA title holder of the super featherweight title. So he was able to unify by defeating Joel Casamayor, who was an excellent Cuban boxer, unify the titles with him. And then he faced two really tough fighters, two Argentinian tough fighters, in Juan Carlos Ramirez. Freitas was knocked down by Ramirez, and then Ramirez was stopped after Freitas knocked him out in round 4. He also faced the tough Jorge Rodrigo Barrios, who had a win, or almost a win actually, over Johan Guzman. All right, he almost had a win. It was a split decision. This guy's a tough Argentinian boxer, and just as the fight was about to end, Acelino Freitas got, the stoppage for Barrios. And Barrios had knocked down Acelino Freitas in round 8, round 11. Acelino Freitas got him back in round 11 and got him back in round 12. So that was his super featherweight career, in which he was undefeated, unlike Eder Jofre. He went on to go into his lightweight career, the higher weight class, and this is where he was susceptible. Unlike, say, for instance, Eder Jofre, who went up to featherweight and he was successful there. He didn't have any losses. He went on first to face Artur Gregorian, a long reigning German champion, and he was able to defeat him at lightweight. And then he went on to face the legendary Diego Corrales, and the legendary Diego Corrales ended up stopping him in round 10. He never rematched Diego Corrales, and I don't think he wanted anything to do with Diego after that. But he did go on to face Zahir Rahim, who had beaten Eric Morales the fight before, to get a split decision win over him to retain the WBO World Lightweight title that he had lost to Eric Morales. And that basically was the highlight of his career. He never did anything else after that. I think he faced Juan Diaz, again another legendary fighter, and Juan Diaz mopped the floor with him. It was supposed to be a unification, WBA, WBO again, but Juan Diaz basically mopped the floor with him, and that was basically his career. He had some other fights and some recent fights where he's been fighting on and off. So I thought that Acelino Freitas really does give Eder Jofre a run for his money. I just decided to speak about him as well. I don't know if you guys know these guys, either of them, but I think that this is something, especially Brazil and Brazil's contribution to boxing, which a lot of people don't talk too much about. I decided to share these two guys with you guys and see what you guys think. Of course, Acelino Freitas didn't have as much stay busy fights as, say, Eder Jofre, but by and large, when you compare the both of them, quite a high standard. I would say I still edge out Eder Jofre over Acelino Freitas, but I do think that those two guys are really the top guys in Brazil when it comes to Brazilian boxing. Anyway, leave your comments in the comment section below. If you want to donate, subscribe, share, let me know. I collect money via Western Union, MoneyGram. You guys have a great one.